Well, on July 1st, I celebrated my 5th anniversary as your president. And many thanks to all for working together to reach this landmark. You know, the human mind tends to think in multiples of fives. So this is a particularly significant moment in this administration. As I enter my 6th academic year, I am pleased to report, in the spirit of this State of the University address, that at GSU, the state of the university is strong, filled with insurmountable opportunities. Let's begin with the ethical dimension of all we do. The headlines of the last few months highlight that we cannot take ethics for granted. Higher education, encompassing all we do at ASU, must be first and foremost an ethical enterprise. As we ask, why are we here? Where are we going? We must always keep in mind that our purpose is to create a better world. Deviations from the highest ethical standards are particularly ugly in our environment because they violate the core values of the Academy. Claire Gaudiani, the former president of Connecticut College, says that in university life we have the privilege of conscience. The privilege of conscience. Conscience is a privilege because it's fundamental to our jobs. We don't try to make a profit from constructing widgets with the demands of stockholders in the forefront. We create environments to improve people's lives. That's an insurmountable opportunity. Because of our special mission, privilege, and opportunities to do good, the Penn State situation is particularly troubling. Even though we don't have the temptations of big-time football, we at GSU must renew our commitment to strengthen our ethical leadership. We have a special responsibility to protect the vulnerable. We have a special responsibility to protect the vulnerable children in our Family Development Center and in our recreational facilities. We have a special responsibility to protect students, no matter what their chronological age, because of the power differential between students and professors. Let's also keep in mind the vulnerabilities of our fellow employees. Everyone on a university campus should feel free to engage in the civil exchange of ideas. Untenured faculty members, for example, should not feel pressure to remain silent for fear of offending a senior faculty member on a tenure committee. Any form of harassment, racial, sexual, or just plain bullying, in the classroom, in the office, in the hallways, or anywhere else within our university, has to be ferreted out and stopped. We should consistently adopt, both in policy and practice, a zero-tolerance environment. If you see someone being bullied, please don't look away. Step in and defend the vulnerable person. We must create an atmosphere of trust so that whistleblowers do not fear to come forward as they did at Penn State. We must operate transparently. When we make mistakes, we must own them, acknowledge them, and figure out ways to do better. Cover-ups are particularly reprehensible at a university. We are definitively committed to the open exchange of information. So covering things up goes against, again, the core values of the Academy. We should and will remain vigilant at all times in fostering and maintaining this zero-tolerance environment. And everyone here today has a role in creating this ethical environment, and everyone must exert constant vigilance, because creating an ethical environment is something that is never completed once and for all. It is constructed of our everyday awareness and actions. Not only do we have an ethical imperative, we also have an insurmountable opportunity, and that is to infuse ethical decision-making into all we do and into all we teach. Many of you already infuse ethics into your teaching. You ask students to consider the ethics of public decisions about climate control, the treatment of the elderly, the rehabilitation of prisoners. What if we were to be fully intentional about infusing ethics across the curriculum? How might the courses we begin teaching next week be different? Please give that some thought as you look at your syllabi for next week. We have an insurmountable opportunity to infuse ethical thinking into our new freshman program and into the living learning communities in our residence halls. I mean, that's something, since we're building it from the ground up, we can really do something quite remarkable. Civic engagement is also an ethical imperative. Now, many of you are already integrating the responsibilities of citizens into the curriculum. We must strengthen our efforts. Without being partisan, we can encourage students to register and to vote. We can assign analyses of political debates. We are hoping to have a candidates forum here at GSU. Encourage or assign your students to attend. There are all kinds of perspectives that they can bring to analyzing what they see and hear. Wear the GSU Votes button that we have distributed today. The nation will be paying particular attention, more than usual, in this presidential election year to the workings of our democracy. It's another insurmountable opportunity, and please take advantage of it. And there's a practical reason too. We are in constant dialogue with Springfield on all kinds of issues that affect public higher education, and public higher education is a public good. It's important that our legislators see that GSU votes. And that means we have to get out there and register and vote. And we want to have numbers that show that we are fully involved. Well, let's look a little bit. I want to look a little bit backward, a little bit forward. I thought it was very important not to let the Penn State situation just go uncommented. And I also didn't want to just point fingers at Penn State, because that's too easy. We have to be looking at what we together can do. And now to reflect a bit. 5 years ago at my installation, I articulated a vision of renewal and reinvention. Let's recall that GSU was founded in 1969 as an innovative university. The goal then, as now, was to take advantage of insurmountable opportunities. In 2007, I proposed extending that tradition of innovation to create a model 21st century university. In this half-decade, we have come a long way toward that goal. We are truly a public square in our inclusiveness and in our connections with the larger community. Our enrollment, measured in student credit hours, has grown over the 5-year period close to 6%, with most of the growth in full-time undergraduate students from underserved populations. And this overall growth is particularly noteworthy when we consider that our master's level enrollment has been declining to the tune of 20% over the last 5 years, and we have to do something about that. It's equally noteworthy that during the same period, most of our sister institutions in Illinois have been experiencing declining enrollment. So we are ahead of the game in terms of growth, and of course, if we're going to ever reach the state goals of 60% of Illinois citizens having degrees by 2025, all of the public universities have to be doing some things that they haven't been doing before. Our minority enrollment has gone up in all categories, although we should be doing better in outreach to Latino populations. We are studying new student enrollment patterns motivated by the semester summer calendar. We're also examining ways to address the decline in master's enrollment. Nationally and at GSU, students at the master's level prefer hybrid and online graduate programs, and also at the doctoral level, and we're doing much of that. They look for high-quality programs that transcend the clock, the calendar, and the car. And I want to give kudos to the College of Business and Public Affairs under Dean Ellen Foster Curtis' leadership for developing a high-quality online MBA focusing on supply chain management. We need more of that. GSU's 5th doctorate in leadership is truly innovative. It is multidisciplinary and offered primarily online. One of the educational forums that preceded my installation brainstormed about this kind of doctorate. It took us 5 years actually to get it done. The Higher Learning Commission Board of Directors will take a final vote on this program on August 20th, next week, after a positive review from the recommending committee. Barring the totally unexpected, we should be enrolling students this January. So I want to give many thanks to the Leadership Doctorate Committee, especially to Dr. Deborah Bordelon, Dean of the College of Education and Graduate Dean, to Dr. Chip Coldren, the coordinator of the program, for the successful culmination of years of creative planning. Would that committee please stand up so that we can acknowledge them? In the spirit of our commitment to social justice, which is also something I spoke about at my installation address as something that was particularly identifiable about GSU, I'm proud to announce a very special event scheduled for November. World-famous poet and social activist Nikki Giovanni is coming to the GSU Performing Arts Center on November 7th, 6 p.m. to speak on the subject, The Courage for Equality, Love, Work, Society. I can see many course assignments in anticipation of this event, which is free and open to the public. And I want to give many thanks to a cross-college steering committee with membership from the College of Education, the College of Arts and Sciences, and MILE, chaired by Dr. Cyrus Ellis. In the spirit of the public square, our Family Development Center, under the leadership of Dean Bordelon and Carol Morrison, conducts educational programs for parents, the Parent Connection. Deb and Carol have fulfilled our dream of making the Family Development Center a true center for research across the colleges of the university. And big news, the GSU's Family Development Center has just received accreditation from the NAEYC, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, the most prestigious accreditation for early childhood centers.